Welcome to CarSceneKorea. I introduce newly released Genesis, Hyundai, and Kia cars. And the car I am driving today is 2023 Kia Seltos. That's got the facelift. The tester I have today is 2023 year model, and the biggest difference I would definitely point out that this has the 8-speed automatic. This is gonna be a rough test, but I wanna measure 0 to 60 here, so set the mode into sport. I'm curious as to what the power distribution would be like for if I were to shoot this car out. So let's go test it out. Full throttle. So 0 to 60 one more time. This time maybe I'll have the lock on, so all-wheel drive is on. Full throttle. So that was not too bad. As we saw, Seltos actually distributes all the power to all wheels, so maximizing the performance. We can see the real-time power distribution of the front wheels and rear wheels on this all-wheel drive model. And the way it goes over the speed bump, I'm not going to reduce the speed. So it goes over the speed bump, all right. You know, it's not the most soft, cushiony feel that you would expect. It's a heavily congested area, traffic, as you can see, and now is the perfect time to test out the HDA. So press the button, the HDA will engage right away, unlike the previous model that I find really helpful and useful compared to the previous version. Now I can definitely feel the advantage of driving an SUV over a sedan. Definitely higher line of sight, clear view, and you can see ahead of yourselves. As for the HDA, it centers all right. Like, it gives me very confident drive, and there's a turn ahead. Let's see how it does. Go with my hand a little bit here. So as you can see, it centers itself really amazing. So it's a little bit of tight turns here, but you know, so it goes around, no problem. Takes away a lot of stress of your city drives and also congested area. Definitely a plus on HDA. As for the drive modes, I don't really feel the difference between the eco and normal mode. There is not the difference of the RPM gauge, as we can see. So probably the eco mode will use more of the glide throughout. Probably we can see that on freeway drives more evidently, but not so much on low speeds like so. However, when you put the car into sport mode, watch the RPM gauge, which is 1500 right now, right? But sport, no, you're not supposed to drop. So you put the car into a sport mode, the RPM will idle a little higher than the usual, and the car will sit and ready itself to respond more quickly than different modes. It actually waits on higher RPM when I actually floor the car just a little bit. Alright, so some heavy corners and tight turns. So you could probably hear a lot of engine noise coming in. That's actually the actual sound that comes into the cabin. However, that's when you are actually flooring the accelerator. But when you just gently drive around with the HDA on, you know, this is the road that I take a lot. Like, this is my daily drive kind of a course. So I can definitely feel that it's much more quieter compared to the previous model. Forgot to point this out on my exterior view. There are more sound absorbents on C-pillar, the door, wheel guards, and floor carpets, as well as this windshield. And that being said, this Seltos comes with the NVH, which stands for noise, vibration, and harshness, and worked harder to make the car become quieter. And I can definitely feel while driving this car on the same course that I drive every day. Alright, so we need some speed here, flooring down, so shifts down on its own, finding the correct transmission. The way it responds is definitely different from that of the 7-speed. So wide open road, hitting the accelerator. that's a lot of engine noise, by the way. The brakes, yep, it's just moderate. It's quite fitting for its class. It feels great. It handles great. And I'm quite surprised that I have not met a Seltos up until now, because there are like hundreds of Seltos here in Korea, and as I just mentioned, there's one coming up ahead on the right. Well, so the overall feedback of this facelift Seltos would be that 8-speed automatic is just a brilliant match, and I actually like this much better over the 7-speed dry dual clutch transmission DCT that previous model had, because it's much more fitting as the lifestyle of the owners of the Seltos, I would say. Having this as a commuter car, daily driver, the city drives, where there is frequent stops and goes in between your city drives, right? I've mentioned this multiple times in the review, but with the 7-speed DCT, there is a lot of kicks and pushes in between the shifts, especially on lower gears where there are more torque. So it has a lot of that jerking motion. It was a little bit very tedious for you to control the car to be driven smoothly on your city drives, but that's not the case with the 8-speed. You just gently tap on the accelerator, the car will do its thing. You don't need to worry just too much about the shifts, and there is not so much of the jerking motion either. Let me use the pedal shifter here and see how that responds. The shift down is also quick enough, as you can see. Well, it's actually faking it, the display is faking, so it would show as if the downshift has been made right away on the monitor. So I'm using the pedal shifter here, but on the display it will show that it has downshifted like right away at the push of my shifter, but actually no, that's not the case. The needle would actually move first, and then later it will actually RAV match and lower the gear. And well, there's a pedal shifter, so you can enjoy some of the sporty driving too. I actually like the fact that the engine noise is quite loud, you know what I mean? Listen to this. The car is roaring. So I actually like this, but once again, all this is gone when you just put the car into a normal mode and keep your RPM, you know, moderate. And this car can also pick up the speed and perform all right. You don't need to worry a thing about the brakes or accelerator for that matter. This serves and delivers all the purpose that the car there needs to be for Seltos. It's a great city driver, commuter car, and well, this is not going to pump out the best MPG there, however, because the way I have been driving, but as we can see on the average, its entire lifespan, it has 7.1 kilometer per liter. Once again, this is a test driver, so that is the reason why it's doing poor, but this will come with a moderate good mix of city plus highway, totaling up to 10 kilometers per liter. Yes, there has been the price increase in terms of this model compared to the previous one, but that is including in everything that we saw on the facelift. That's starting with the different look, both front and back, an upgraded monitor, as well as upgraded HDA, shift-by-wire type gear selector. All that comes down to a little more than $2,000. The price overall has been increased by about $2,000, but you get all that goodies. Is that something that you're willing to pay, having all these? You spend all this time using this infotainment system. I would strongly recommend that you go with the loaded option and utilize all this feature to it. So that's it for today. So don't forget to subscribe and like CarSceneKorea if you did, and I'll come back with more of this video. Actually, the video that I plan on making right after this is comparing the exterior of the previous Seltos to this one. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.